Is a computer or computer-controlled robot capable of general understanding? And that's the question. Well, one trouble with the word understanding, and I don't know what it means. I've got three words here: intelligence and awareness. I don't want any of them mean, unfortunately. But you see, being a mathematician, I don't need to know what they mean. I can talk about relations between them. And I consider that whatever intelligence is, it's something which depends upon understanding. You would normally or appropriately say that of an entity that is intelligent, that doesn't possess any understanding. Likewise, I would say understanding in the usual sense of the word requires awareness. So I would like to say that an entity has understanding if it's not aware of the situation. So I would say these are relevant. And the main point I want to make here is that understanding is something that does require awareness or consciousness.
The issue with consciousness and will and atheism, I think, is interesting. I think that basically the theists have a pat answer for the hard problem. This is basically when they say you have a spark of God in you or any of these things like that. Basically, it's a circular thing because it works like this, but it is a pat answer. It's like, oh, that's why I have that. That's my soul. Okay, now, atheists wanting to get rid of theism are throwing that out. That's the only explanation they understand of, that answers the hard problem, and they want to throw that out. But the problem is then they have to ignore that there even is a hard problem of consciousness. In reality, to complete their atheism, they should come up with some, at least, the start of an idea of how we have this experience. And it means they're going to have to face various things because, part of throwing out all religion is, there is no conscious will in the universe. Because there's no God, right? There's no God making it all happen. But we're forgetting we're a part of nature. We have this, our collective will together has an impact and so on. And I see that it comes something like this. Imagine, a human being, we have pattern recognition software. We've evolved this to run the body, a human body, in the environments that we've endured for millions of years, right? And because we understand human beings as agents, when we see something in nature, it's easy to anthropomorphize. So you can analyze the weather at sea as the mood of a sea god. And if Poseidon is, hey, I'm out at sea, and it's like, oh, I think Poseidon's getting angry, that maps to me just saying, hey, it looks like the weather could get bad, right? And it's just a way of using a metaphor of a human as a way to keep track of something that isn't human. And it's anthropomorphic. It's through anthropomorphizing it, right? So the problem comes is, okay, we have this spark of consciousness. Now, anthropomorphizing is saying, well, what if something akin to a human will was causing this phenomena of weather at sea? Well, in this case, it's like, what if something like human will was causing this phenomena of human will? And that's where we get into the circularity. Yeah, something like human will is causing it. It is that thing. But we've abstracted it to another level and saying, well, why do we all seem to have this? The objective reality is because we're all having a part of this human-like God, which is the most objectionable thing about religions, is that their gods are a lot like super powerful humans. Okay, so when we decide that it's not because of God, it's not a spark of God, it's not our piece of God, it's not God at all, it doesn't mean we can get rid of that there is this phenomena. And we know from a principle of reduction that the phenomena comes from, the world of phenomena, the world of perceptions. And if we're materialists, then we're thinking, well, there's certain ways, just like there's certain ways that material can be arranged such that you have a macroscopic magnet, there's ways for the material to be arranged so you have a macroscopic will. And this brings some expression of physical laws that brand new atheists don't like to have to face. They want to have some cold clinical lab-oriented view of the world, and they're still stuck here with explaining why we perceive our emotions and our subjective sense experiences and everything else. Where does that come from? Okay, and it has to come from the laws of physics, which would mean that there's something about the laws of physics that does have this human quality. Specifically, it's the part we've arranged into our own quality, right? And that's a question that atheists have to face and have answers for. Not a single answer. We don't have an answer that's going to stand the test of time forever, but we need an approach. We can't be like, look, we don't even ask questions of consciousness because all of those lead down the route to theism. Because if that's true, we're going to go back down the route of theism in the long run, because people experience the subjective nature of their own existence every moment of every waking moment, and arguably most sleeping moments throughout their entire life. So there's a pressure to come back and explain that. And if you go, well, there is no atheist explanation to that, we don't do those explanations because those are all theistic, then people are going to stay in the theistic. Just like with epistemology, if you don't tell them how you can found an epistemology on anything other than your assumption, you've now given them a reason not to say, well, if I assume God, that works too. All right, cheers.